I'm gonna keep it real. Okay, it is 7:55 this morning. Less than 24 hours. I posed 100-mile race, and I want to do a quick recap because I didn't record shit. I did all the recording, but yeah, we did a damn thing. And I would say first and foremost, I've never experienced this much pain in my entire life. But man, is it worth it? I mean, after the fact, it was worth it. But during, I'm like, fuck this shit. Brutal. So I want to do a recap, and then I'm not gonna cross my legs. I can't move my legs. Since everything's kind of fresh right now. So this is Jake, by the way, and Jake is my crew. Part of my two man and woman crew, women being my wife and Jake, to help me crew. In case you don't know anything about 100 ultra runs or races, you can have a crew with you. Obviously, that's going to help you, food, nutrition, whatever you need, just to make sure you can accomplish the case. And a quick backstory to Jake also is, 10 years ago, I saw Jake compete at in the bodybuilding show, won his pro card. And before that, we had a competition. I think, again, if you've done prep before, you know how hard prep is. I was kind of struggling a little bit. We had a conversation. You know, I was a pro at the time. I guess I'm still a pro. I don't know. Who cares? During that time, we started chatting, formed a friendship. My coach then now is father-in-law. I was having a conversation with him on the while sucking through the race. Like, imagine your father-in-law 10 years ago. Like, looking back now, like, you guys would, help each other. Run 100 miles. He ran a PR, run 50 miles yesterday. That would be possible. But, like, I mean, again, you never know. It's called evolution of life. But yeah, so yeah, Jake helped me pace for the race yesterday. I was supposed to do 28. My man came in clutch, which saved my life in a lot of ways. And mostly, I mean, if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would complete the race at all. I just want to do a quick recap, kind of just, what your overall thought of the race was. How do you feel about it?
Like, it sounds cliche, especially because it's the Crazy Mountain Ultra 100, but like the only word that encapsulates it all is like, it was just crazy, man. Like, that was a crazy experience, a crazy adventure. I didn't run the full 100, obviously. I paced you for 50. But there's that saying that you go through life in a day. Yep. In the 100-mile. And it's so true, dude. Like, the highs, the lows, you're going through it all in such a short amount of time. It's so hard to process it all.
Yep. Elaborate on the point I just made is the conversation, the race itself, it's hard, but just the conversation that you have with yourself, like, quit it, not quit it, to drink water, not to drink water. The mental fatigue alone is even almost like worse than the physical one itself. It's not even it's a tough race. It's not even, it's one of the toughest race out there right now, just because of how super technical climb. A total elevation gain and loss, 22,000 feet of elevation gain and loss overall. But just a quick little recap, a little portion of the just how my plan for the race was supposed to go. Because everybody has a plan to get punched in the face, and you will get punched in the face during the kitchen, or your plan goes out the window. That's why it's very beneficial to have a crew like him to just, hey, let's stick to the plan, or readjust or pivot if we need to. But also, the first 19 miles, the first 42 miles you're going to do by yourself. Then you can pick up a pacer. So from mile 1 to mile 2, which again, I was so all over the place. I forgot my pole. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm not going to need it. Boy, did I wish I had that, a certain portion. To do the first 19 by yourself, you get to the next day station, met up with the crew. I got to today's session. I'm gonna say a couple of pieces of each day session. What happened? 19. Then you get back out there and you come back to half moon, which is 42.1 miles. Then you can pick up a pacer. I picked him up. Ran through the night to the next morning. The initial plan was to kind of just do that portion myself. Again, glad I didn't have to do that portion myself, because that would have sucked. And he ended up doing the whole extent portion till mile 92, where I picked up my wife and we both finished the race together. But so, a couple of key points that happened in each aid session that I think is very important to highlight. Again, like I said, everybody has a plan not to get punched in the face. And I think Dan said it best too, like 100-mile race is all about being able to adjust, being able to pivot. And when things happen, just problem solving throughout the whole race. One of the problem solving things I have to do is because I started chafing at the beginning of the race at mile 19 without a pole. And I'm like, come on now. Like, not even deep into the race alone, I'm already having issues. On top of that, I start cramping. On top of that, I got to the aid station, let the cramp kind of calm down. I was trying to change. I got stung by a bee. It's like the coach is like, hey, you want more challenges outside of 100? I got one for you in the bag. So what was your thought when I came into mile 19?
It was not good, man. Like, I deal with cramps quite a bit myself too, and it's typically, and I was talking with Jess and she said it's the same for you too, like once they kind of start, they don't really just go away. Nope. Right? Like you're going to be battling that off and on the whole time.
Yep.
And we're like 1/5 into this thing, like 20%, and he's cramping up. You came in and you were just like not in a great state. Like, we're like, what do you need? And you're like, I don't know. So like, we left that one not feeling super stoked.
After the fact, they told me, like, yeah, of course, as great of a crew supposed to be, they're not supposed to show any concern or any fear. I'm like, oh, no, yeah. You got it. But after the fact, it's like, bro, we were worried. Yeah. Like, way too soon to be having this kind of issues. But, we were able to navigate that, start running. But this is the portion that was very hard for me, too, because I was having some conversations because, the toughest initial portion of the race started after mile 19, the first big climb, 10,000 feet. And when you start climbing and start sucking wind,
and it's in the dead heat of the day too. And
I'm having questions like,
and at the first aid station, he had to change his tights because he was chafing. And in his tights, he had his like Ziploc baggie of salt tabs. We get back because it's logistically kind of a tough race to deal with because you're in the mountains. So we get back to the Airbnb, and Jess is washing the shorts, and she grabs this Ziploc baggie of salt tabs, and he's dealing with cramps, and she's like, do you think he needs these? And I was like, oh my God, like, I might not even run today.
Key points to mention again, because after the fact that happened, of course, when you're already going through the process and you have stuff you trying to justify, have conversations, and I realized I left myself, I'm like, really? But again, the cool thing about ultra races is people are so giving and generous, like want other people to succeed. I was able to stop a few people like, hey, you mind if I, bum a couple of, salt taps from you? Like, sure, I got 4 here, 4 there. And luckily I saw Dan on the course, and Dan, of course, he's always prepared and had a lot on him. And I was able to kind of and we came back into the station. So we got to Half Moon, which is 42. That's when I picked him up. At that point, I was feeling good. And I think the excitement of picking him up, or like, finally I get to have a pacer, somebody can conversate with or talk to, because it gets pretty lonely on this races. And picked him up, and off we went on Half Moon. How was that portion for you?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I was nervous, not of like, oh, do I have the capability to do it, but you just feel the weight as a pacer of like, this isn't about me, this means so much to Sam. You want to show up so badly for that person. So like, the nerves, the excitement was there. But once we got going, it was great. Like, all 4 of us were together for a good portion. The vibes were high. You just seemed like you were doing great. That was a good section.
Nice. And again, we tricked. I should mention also, last year I paced Dan on the same course, and I think this is when things kind of got real for me. I'm like, wow, this is tough. And again, to experience that part kind of give me more appreciation for what Dan went through last year, because again, this is the first climb. You already done 2 major 2,000 feet, 2 10,000 feet climb coming down to before I picked him up, and essentially just going back to the same where you came from. And you are under a time restriction because you have to make it back to the top before midnight, so you won't get DNF. I mean, it will suck if you get DNF did not finish. It will suck if you get DNF at that portion and you have to turn around and come back. So, and again, I was struggling. I was struggling throughout the race, and again, pick me up the whole time. Knowing you have you have to catch up. You have a time limit to get to the top. And I knew, he came in clutch. It was real. It was like, hey, we got to move, got to get to that point on time. We got there. It was great. And on the way back, we were going back to the next cutoff was Cow Camp from.
It wasn't a cutoff at Cow Camp. It was just so Conical Peak was 12:45. Then we had to get to Sunlight, which is over. You got to go down and then up over another pass and back down. And that was 5:15 or 5:30.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we got a Cow Camp. Cow Camp is very legendary for one of the best aid stations. I'm sorry, it's a full-on party down there. You got all the best foods, and I mean, just again another huge, just people that put races together. Like these areas are remote, like no access to anything. You have to literally mule.
Yes, they took horses to pack all the stuff into this aid station, and they're there at 3 a.m. like it's a freaking party.
They've been there all day.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, again, people just like the fact. I mean, the people's
It's crazy
generosity of just self and care is just everything you need. They're there, and you boost your mood. But so we got a Cow Camp. Then we have to. A theme of this race a lot of times was, oh, I think we got time. It's like, no, we were chasing cutoffs the whole time. And Cow Camp, we left Cow Camp. Then Sunlight is the next one, and we have to be. The cutoff is 5:30. So when I say cutoff usually means you need to get there and be out by that cutoff. It's not like you have to get there by 5:30. Oh, now you can chill. No, meaning if it's 5:30, ideally speaking, you want to be there at least 5 minutes. Depending if you want to be there 5 minutes before, that just means you don't have enough time to do anything else, but just to like in and out, peace out. So we got there. We again chasing cutoffs. We got there. I think we have about 5 minutes or so. So kind of just like
we basically got our flasks and bladders filled up, and I shoved like 3 pancakes in my pocket.
Yep.
And we grabbed like a piece of watermelon too, and just got out of there.
Yep. Because again, the next chasing cutoffs, you're gonna hear a lot of that.
Yeah.
Chasing cutoffs, Crandall, which is we had to be there 7:30, 7:45. 7:45 in the morning. And we got there at 7:45. We had a decent amount of time.
We got there like 7:30.
7:30. So again,
15 minutes to go.
Chasing cutoff. I had to put our stuff on real quick. Met up with the team again. When you be running through the night and the sun comes up and you see your team, it's so refreshing.
Yeah,
it's just a boost of like morale, and you see the team. You get some hot maybe breakfast, a little cup of tea, cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of just kick things a little bit. But then again, in a split second in my head, and you have to think like, man, still got tons and tons of miles to run. And this is the biggest. So initially, it was supposed to run through the night just with me, and it was going to be me or Dan running together this portion. And throughout the race, like, because it saw. I'm just happy talking. On the reason why you not just only did the portion that you were going to do and end up doing.
Yeah,
the other portion. So
the very first climb from Half Moon where I started was Conical Peak, and that their cutoff was 12:45 for that. And we started that climb as a group of 4 with Dan and his pacer, and they separated from us pretty quickly and got quite a bit ahead. And I kind of had to push it to get to the top. And when we got there, I sent a satellite message to Jess and Hunter and said, like, have my duffel bag of stuff ready at the aid station in the morning. I think I'm going to run the next section because,
1 second. The reason why I did that is
another
because another theme of this race was me battling flies the whole fucking
Lord
time.
of the Flies over here.
Lord of the Flies swapping through. But
yeah, so we got to the top of that, and I could tell that like Sam was hurting, and I was just envisioning Dan continue to push farther ahead, and that these two guys wouldn't be running that 22-mile section together. And with the way Sam was in that state, I knew that he was going to need some help. And when you sign up to be the pacer, your job is to make sure that guy gets to the finish line. And I didn't even think about like, oh, it's another 22 miles, another 6,000 vert. It's just like, we got to get Sam there.
Yeah, and to say I needed that will be another statement. Because, again, body was, in the moment, maybe body was feeling good. But after going through that portion, I'm like, this would have been one hell of a feat to even, like, the question mark of, like, it's without a doubt, I would not have finished the race if I didn't have him in that portion. Just because, again, just straight out of the climb out of Crandall, it's just a straight gut wrenching climb.
It's starting to get hot.
Starting to get hot. And I mean, having him it's like, hey, we got to move because we got to get to this again, chasing cutoffs. We got to get through. And that alone, again, having him. So the next 8 session that we need to make it through. And of course, you know, everybody does, I mean, that's, you know, promoting or helping out, they undersell what you have to do. Oh, no, just a small little climb. Listen, anytime you do any sort of ultra races that has anything, maybe 10,000 feet of elevation, like climb and above, there is no such thing as a small climb.
There's no small climbs.
Everything is a massive, especially
it's all gonna suck.
It's all gonna suck. Rolling or not. So we have met some people. Oh yeah, it's just a little roller. No, there was no. I was like, no, I don't want to see another roller, but yeah, we made it. We made it to the edge station.
Conical, which we made, and then Sunlight had to run to that one. Then we met the crew at Crandall. Mm-hmm. And then after that climb we were talking about right there, we had Forest Lake, and that was where shit got real.
Forest Lake,
real.
Forest Lake. I definitely had an out of body experience. Again, this is gonna get boring because I keep saying I cannot say enough about him helping me through this process, because doing the math alone of just, you know, looking through. Doing the math of just like, you know, navigating through like everything and just trying like, you know, okay, what to do. Time management too, which he was great at. I was like, listen, we need to make it past this. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I think we have enough time. Could it just be because I am, quote unquote, just like, you know, milking it in a little bit too. And knowing that, I'm like, okay, cool, awesome. But then it said something that was like, hey, you didn't run 72 miles just to miss this cutoff. It's like the last sort of like cutoff that you need to make, and everything else kind of just like, you know, within grasp. And I think this is a highlight of, you know, the last piece of this whole like process. And he said that, and we were, that's all he had to say. And we had 3 miles, and if you look at the splits, I mean, 80 miles or so in already, and that was like one of my fastest runs, because all he had to say to me at that point was some way, somehow that resonated. We made that cutoff, and we had other like, you know, 8 sessions, you know, to make up until then, and the last 8 session, which was hunting camp. At that point, he got about 7.2 miles. Tough stretch. Again, he's been running 50 miles. You know, I'm sure broke his toe a couple of times. A lot of curse words, and got to the final aid station. Luckily, with the intention of having more time there, because I was in no shape to do a 10-minute mile for 7 miles at all. So we have enough time, and had the pleasure of finishing the race with my lovely wife, which she's a rock star. She's right there. You're not going to see her, but it's okay. Watching the time because we need to get out of here and fly to the airport. And feelings. But yeah, finished the race. It was good. It was great. And again, I cannot say enough about the race. Again, you can do a lot of successful things yourself, but it's always great when you have a group of people that support you through the process. And thank you for the incredible.
It was an honor to be there with you. Crossing
the line was super emotional. A lot of tears, which we were talking about another time. But yeah, I just want to do a quick recap, and because I didn't give a shit about recording any content at all, because I was trying to finish a fucking race. But anyways, hopefully you enjoy that, and see you in the next one. Peace.